This episode of Fishing Gurus is in association with Shimano Gen X poles.
Welcome to the final show in the Fishing Guru series. I'm Alex Bones and I'm joined once again by top angler Mick. We're back at the beautiful Anglers Paradise complex where we're still on the Koi Lake. In here we've got the chance to catch some simply stunning ornamental koi carp. We've got loads of tactics in our locker we want to show you over the course of this show, and Mick, you're into an absolute incredible looking one already.
I am, yeah.
That's a real little fighter, that one.
Yeah, I've just had it on the pace down the edge.
He's all white with a few black spots. Brilliant stuff. Well, I'm itching to have a go. Let's get cracking.
I've started the session on a little light waggler, fishing pace down on the side of the reeds here. Started catching a few to begin with, a few small ones, just hoping that it's going to get better. There's a lot of fish playing around with the pace at the moment, so it's ducking and floats ducking and diving all over the place, but it will get better in a minute. I'm feeding 6mm halibuts as well. I'm getting real sail under bites when they're actually having it, but like I said, you know, the float's doing a lot of bobbing about when they're not, when they're just playing with it. So a big knob of paste is basically the weight. There's no shot down the line. You know when the fish is hooked, when the float just absolutely flies under, and there's no messing about when you're fishing with paste. Generally the paste picks out the better fish in the pool. So you can use a big knob of paste, and those big ones come along and eat it. And a lot of the time you have to start the session with smaller fish pecking at the paste. Obviously you catch a few of them first, then the bigger ones come in, and then that's it, away you go. Got a hard fighting koi straight away. Taking a big piece of paste. Look at that. Oh, look at the colour on that. This is a beautiful looking fish. Fish about £2. Look at that. Beautiful.
I know Mick's having quite a lot of success on the pace, but I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to fish on the surface, a real exciting way of catching these fish that are so visible. I've got a really simple rig. On the business end, I've got an MWG hook with a small pop-up. This floats on the surface along with the feed baits that I'm firing in. I've got 3 foot of N-gauge hook length, running up to a 10-gram cruiser surface controller. That's attached to 10-pound drag line, which I've spooled on my reel. Surface fishing is really, really exciting. Because you can see the fish, it's often the case that you can pick the one off that you want. While I've just been talking to you then, I see a big orange one just cruise right where I've been feeding. So it's a case of just cast the float past the fish and just retrieve it gently. This helps to stop spooking the fish. Float landing on top of them all the time, they generally spook off and are much more wary. Feeding is really important. It's a case of little and often is always the key with this. So what I'm doing is firing some 6mm expand expander pellets. These aren't prepared in any way, they're dry, straight from the bag. I prefer to use smaller baits. These are relatively small fish that we're targeting. If I was fishing for bigger fish, double figure ones maybe, I'd use 11mm expanders or maybe even dog biscuits. But it's just a case of keep working at it. I've probably got 8 to 10 little pellets, fire them out round the float and just watching the hook bait. Sometimes the fish will hook himself against the weight of the float and they'll literally rip the rod out your hand. That's really exciting and often can catch you unaware. But it's well worth just keeping an eye on it. Sometimes you need to strike. I can just see two fish right around my hook bait there. Cool, it's heart-stopping stuff. It's so exciting when you're fishing on the bottom like Mick is. He's just watching his float for indications. But although my float's there, it's visible, I'm actually just watching my hook bait. But they're ever so cute little fish. They're just coming up to it, nosing it and just dipping back down, making them pretty tough to catch at the minute. They're coming in real close as well. Oh yes! Talk about explosive. I just had the drag set then in case one ripped off. Just took some line off the spool and hooked itself against the float. They're being really coy. Excuse the pun. This is one of them bright orange ones that was just swimming about, nosing at the baits. And that white boily's just been his downfall. I'm sure Zig's got a special name for these, but I can't quite remember exactly what it was. It's a black and orange one in any case. Here he comes. Cool, they've done our fight, pound for pound. They're incredible. What a beauty. And what an exciting way to catch them as well. Saw every bit of that, saw him come up behind the float, hook himself, and now he's in the net. I can't really see how it can get much more exciting than that. What an absolute precious little fish.
Well, I've been sat here watching Alex catching quite a few fish off the top, so I've decided to change my tactic from paste and set a little zig rig up with a white pop-up boilie on it at about 4 foot. And very first cast, I've chucked it straight into where he's catching, and one's had it straight away. Look at that, beautiful fish. Fish about £3. Not so coloured as a lot of the other types that we've seen on the top, but a nice white fish, good condition again. Had it first cast, lovely. Well, let me show you that zig rig. It's really, really simple to fish. All it is a micro lead clip with a square lead on, okay? And the swim that we're fishing is about 5 foot deep. So the hook length is, we're going to fish at about 4 foot. And what we've got on here is a very small MWG with a white pop-up boilie. And basically what we do is we cast it out, it sits about a foot under the water, and we're going to catapult a few 6mm pellets over the top, sinking pellets that is, and see if we can catch some more. Right, let's get back out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast into the middle of those feeding fish. Just pull it up a little bit, perfect. Catapult some 6mm over the top of where it's just landed. It's important to keep feeding regular, just 4 and 5 pellets every sort of 10-15 seconds. Just keeps the fish active in your peg. What I'll do is probably leave the bait in the swim for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then just reel it in and recast. A lot of the time you actually from the plop of the barm and everything landing on the water, you'll catch a fish instantly on this method, as what happened a minute ago.
Now the fishing out there on the surface has been hectic to say the least, but most of them have been between 2 to 4 pound. Now Zig's told me there's plenty of specimens in here, and the best way to target them is usually to fish in the margins. Instead of adopting conventional waggler tactics and big baits, I'm actually just going to underarm a method feeder down by the lily pads. All I've been doing is feeding small wetted balls of micro pellets, just there, and dropping the method feeder over the top. It's an absolute deadly tactic, and all you got to do, put the rod on the rest and sit and wait for it to rip round. There we go. How instant was that? All you got to be careful of though is these lilies are a bit of a snag, so it's just a case of getting the rod out past them and just guiding the fish away from the danger area. This one only feels like a small one. But you see how instant that was? As soon as I dropped it in, it's hit the bottom, rod straight round. Here we go. Oh yes, oh yes. Let's have a look at you. That one must have literally followed the method feeder down to the bottom as it sank. He was straight on top of it, munching away at those pellets. He's picked up the hook bait and hooked himself against the weight of the X-Safe method. The elastic's done all the work for me, cushioning the hook hold, and he's safely in the net. And still very lively, as you can see. What a beauty.
This episode of Fishing Gurus is in association with Shimano Gen X poles.
Welcome back. We've decided on a change of tactics. We've moved off the koi lake and we're now on the tench lake, where we're going to be doing a bit of pole fishing. And don't worry, I haven't lost my job. I'm just joined by a very special guest, Zig Gregoric's daughter, Xenia. It must have been absolutely fantastic growing up on this venue.
I'm certainly one very fortunate girl, Alex.
Over a couple of glasses of your dad's famous home-brewed wine, he's told us a few stories, some of which I'll keep from you for now.
Yeah.
So it's your chance to get your own back. In fact, one thing he did mention was that you've got a scalp over and above what he's achieved. Just talk us through that.
Right, well, I was very fortunate to be given the opportunity to go to Kenya. This was purely for Dad to catch a grandeur marlin. Anyway, I was the only family member not to have caught a marlin, so I thought I'll go one step further and I'll book my own trip out with my husband. And by 10:30 that morning, I'd had a grand slam, which consists of a black marlin, a striped marlin, and it was a sailfish.
Wow, that's incredible.
I honestly, when I'm talking to you now, I still can't believe it.
No.
It was absolutely amazing.
And surely one very proud father as well.
Proud, maybe a bit gutted, but I think he thought, well, good on her. Wish it was me, but I think he's accepted it now.
Yeah. Well, your dad was talking us through some of his captures and he's had some incredible fish.
He's determination is not the word for my dad. If he wants something, he gets it. And when he gets it big. And when it comes to fishing, nothing gets in his way.
I mean, what he's provided here for anglers is fantastic. A multitude of lakes, all these species, loads of fishing.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you still get quite a bit of time for your own fishing?
I do. As soon as I've got a day off, I'm down that lake like a shot.
Wow, that's fantastic. You certainly don't see too many ladies fishing. It's so refreshing.
It's such a shame, Alex. It's not right. I mean, it's not a male-influenced sport. It's for everyone. It's good fun. Why be at home doing the dishes and all of that when you could be down there enjoying the fun?
So what about your achievements in angling then? Any notable captures?
Well, every catch is a notable one, but I mean, personal best, carp 27.5, koi 9 pounds, tench 5 pounds, or 5 pounds. But to be honest with you, I'm working on all of them because they're nowhere near big enough for me. So hopefully, if I ever speak to you again, it will be 30 pounds, 50 pounds.
Always striving for more.
Yeah, too right.
So having grown up here, you're now 26 years of age, you must have a whole stack of memories. Just run me through one of your favourites.
Well, we've got a 5C syndicate here, and I had to be initiated. The initiation process is ice down your pants and weed on your head.
No.
Right, well, after the match, unfortunately I didn't win it. I was very close to winning it. You have to swim to the island, and this huge carp just jumped out and slapped me in the face.
Oh.
And I will never ever forget that. It was amazing.
What are the chances of that?
Exactly. My face was a bit red afterwards, put it that way.
That was a lightning bite, Xenia.
Come on, come on.
Done a little bit of worm.
Yep, just a little one, that's all it takes, lads.
What do you reckon it is?
Well, being a tench lake, but then there is orphan here. So, Alex.
Just put it on the roller.
Okay, it's a big one, it's a big one.
You're pulling hard.
Oh, look at the orange. Look at the orange.
Let's just wait, it's pulled down here for you. A bit more manageable. Yes.
I have been pole fishing for a while, so this is all still feeling a bit new to me, if I'm honest. Do I take off that one
just
as well?
over the top of this. That's it.
And feel those arm muscles. Look at
Wow,
that
what
beauty.
a lovely little fish.
Here's one I caught earlier, and I must say, I'm very proud.
Well done. Well, Xenia, that's an absolutely cracking golden tench. Maybe 3 pounds in weight. What an absolutely stunning fish.
Gorgeous.
Ladies, there's no excuse for you to give it a miss next time your other half's out. Maybe it's the pheromones, maybe not. One thing's for sure, you're all better looking than us men. I love fishing the pole for the simple reason that it's easy and it allows me to present my rig and feed in a very small area. Because this lake's home to lots of tench, I've used 6mm premium feed pellets, chopped worm, casters and corn. And into the mix I've also incorporated some of the black muck that's in with the worms. Basically, because I'm shipping out to about 13 metres, it's easy to bounce the feed out of the pole pot. This just helps me to compress it in and it will stay there until it reaches the destination. Just on the point of shipping out, you'll notice that I've got a roller situated behind me. As the pole comes off the roller, it stays horizontal. There's no bouncing around, just makes it really easy. Just nice and gently, follow the rig down. Just as it gets there, turn the pot over and release the feed. Basically, I'm now presenting my worm hook bait right in amongst all that juicy feed. Perfect for the tench that inhabit this lake. All I've got to do now is watch the float, keep lifting and dropping it. Maybe I'll drag the float a little bit if I'm struggling for bites. It's just all about working the swim. Because of the size of fish I'm fishing for, it's really important to choose the right sort of elastic. I've actually got a doubled up number 8 elastic in here, but anything like white hydroelastic, black or sort of number 10 or 12 would be absolutely perfect. Another key point is the shotting of your float. I've just got a small bulk, probably 12 to 18 inches from the hook. Real simple stuff. The rig is 0.17 N gauge, fish with an 0.15 N gauge hook length. And you'll notice that I've probably only got about 2 centimetres of float. This allows me to watch for any tiny movements, because sometimes the bites can be really delicate. So I've not had a bite that time. I can see my feed fizzing away in the swim, so I've lifted it a couple of float lengths out of the water and dropped it back down on top. That's all you need to keep doing. If I've not had a bite in 5 minutes or so, I'll ship back, refill the pot and go again. With baits like pellet, it's better to fish dead depth because the bites can be really delicate. But when you're laying on some line on the bottom with a worm, it gives the fish plenty of time to take the bait, and often you get really positive bites. Yes! Well, there's the proof of the pudding. Just working that hook bait, lifting and dropping. As I lifted it, worm dropped back down to the bottom with a feed, and this one's at it. Let's have a look. Core, pound for pound, these fish really do fight. Another cracking golden tench. Wow, another cracker. Looks like a bar of gold. I've just heard Mick have another behind me, so let's go and have a closer look at what's in his net.
Right, started on the pellet feeder and it's just not worked at all. I've cast it really close against that island over there. I've used a different range of hook baits, boilies, meat, sweet corn, everything really, and it's not worked. So I've got a nice little peg here next to some reeds, and I've decided to chop a bit of worm up and to throw some castor in. Just set a little waggler up, little 2 treble A waggler, nice and simple, really easy to fish. Basically your bulk is around your float, so we've got the float shotted like this, as you can see, and then it's about 5 foot deep. I've got one number 10 dropper, and I've got worm, double worm on the hook, tip with a caster. It's actually just one single worm threaded on and then broken in half with a fingernail, then the tail piece has gone on as well. Just find that works really well for me. So all we're doing is just laying it in down by the side, laying it on, the wind's pushing it up the shelf, just like that. That's absolutely perfect. Oh, look at that! Oh, this is a proper fish. Float's just buried like there's no bottom on the lake. You have to be really careful with these tench because they dive straight in the reeds. I've still got some more reed down there as well. Look, he's trying to get in. So hopefully we can keep him out. We'll have, oh, there he is. He's gone back in them. There we go, look at that. What a cracking looking fish. Taking the worm and caster cocktail. I love fishing down by these reeds. There we go, look at that. Fish about 2.5 pounds, something like that. What do you reckon?
Well, that's it for this show and, in fact, the series. All that's left to say is I hope you learnt plenty along the way. Good luck with your angling. See you on the bank.
This episode of Fishing Gurus is in association with Shimano Gen X Poles.